Why is it that some press releases instantly make headlines while thousands of others are just completely ignored? Seriously, think about that for a second. Every single day, communication pros and executives pour hours of effort, resources, and budget into crafting these company announcements. They hit send to their media lists fully expecting this massive wave of coverage, only to be met with, well, the deafening silence of the digital trash bin. It's honestly one of the most frustrating, resource-draining realities in modern business communications. You have a great company, you've got news to share, but the media simply isn't biting. So why does this happen? And more importantly, how do we actually fix it?
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're fixing the ignored press release by unpacking a really powerful concept called data-driven storytelling. And listen, this isn't just another industry buzzword. It is literally the modern blueprint for high-impact public relations. We are going to look at the exact frameworks that take ordinary run-of-the-mill announcements and transform them into captivating, irresistible narratives that journalists actually want to publish. Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a really clear roadmap for our explainer today. First, we'll establish exactly what the press release problem is right now. Second, we'll define the power of data. Third, we'll outline 5 key business benefits. Fourth, we'll give you the tactical steps for building a high-impact release. And finally, we'll look at the future of PR.
Part 1. The press release problem.
Here is the stark reality. Journalists in 2026 are completely overwhelmed. They're drowning in hundreds of announcements every single week. So if you're just sending out a document, patting yourself on the back, I guarantee it's going straight to the trash. Editors and their audiences simply do not have the time or the patience for advertisements disguised as news. A press release is no longer just a simple announcement.
There are some very specific, fatal errors that trigger a journalist's delete reflex almost instantly. Things like making unsupported claims, where you say you're the absolute best without offering a shred of proof, or relying on outdated statistics that hold zero current relevance. Sometimes it's the opposite problem, overloading the reader with a confusing jumble of numbers without any clear narrative tying them all together. When you rely on heavy self-promotion and totally ignore what the audience actually cares about, you're pretty much guaranteeing your announcement becomes nothing more than background noise.
Part 2. The power of data.
So the antidote to that ignored pitch? It's data-driven storytelling. By definition, this is the practice of combining verified statistics, research trends, and measurable insights with a really compelling narrative. And the absolute key word here is combining. Your data is meant to support the story. It doesn't replace it. You take hard, verifiable facts and you weave them into an explanation of why those facts actually matter. That is exactly how you transition from making boring announcements to crafting credible narratives.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between the two approaches. Anyone can write, "Our company is growing rapidly," right? It's abstract corporate speak, and frankly, it means absolutely nothing to a busy journalist. But look at the alternative. "Our company achieved a 42% increase in customer acquisition over the past year, driven by demand for AI-powered digital PR solutions." Wow, that is a strong, evidence-backed narrative. It's specific, it's measurable, and it gives the reporter a real concrete angle to write about.
You can think of these criteria as a busy journalist's mental spam filter. When they are sorting through the abyss of their inbox, they are actively hunting for stories that are timely, relevant, and supported by hard evidence. They want something useful to their readers, something unique, something easy to verify. Press releases that are rooted in credible data naturally tick all of these boxes, allowing them to instantly stand out from those purely promotional pitches we talked about earlier.
Part 3. 5 key business benefits. Now, this entire approach rests on 5 pillars of undeniable business value. First, it builds instant credibility because verified data naturally increases confidence in your message. Second, it makes your story inherently newsworthy by focusing on wider trends rather than just self-promotion. Third, it vastly improves your media coverage. I mean, journalists absolutely love writing headlines that start with "new report reveals" or "survey shows." Fourth, it supports your SEO. And fifth, it really cements your brand's thought leadership as an expert voice in your industry.
Zooming in on that SEO benefit specifically, the digital footprint you get here is massive. When you publish a data-rich release, authoritative news sites naturally want to link back to your original research. That means about 35% of the benefit comes purely from generating high-quality backlinks. You also drive increased referral traffic at around 30%, boost overall search rankings by 20%, and expand greater online visibility by 15%. Basically, authoritative publications sharing your data serves as rocket fuel for your digital visibility.
Part 4. Building a high-impact release.
So, the crucial point is understanding the actual anatomy of a perfect pitch, and it flows chronologically. You always start with a strong headline highlighting your key insight. You follow that up with a compelling intro explaining why this story matters right now. Next, you deliver the supporting evidence, your verified statistics. Then, you provide expert commentary from your leadership to give it a human voice. You expand on the business context to explain what this means for the wider industry, and finally, you end the whole thing with a clear call to action. Of course, to set yourself up for success here, you have to rely on strong raw materials. We're talking about customer surveys, market research, internal performance metrics, or government and academic stats. But here's the catch. You have to let that data speak for itself. You cannot sabotage your own great data by falling back into common mistakes. Do not ruin a fascinating internal metric by wrapping it up in heavy, unsupported self-promotion or outdated statistics. It just kills the credibility instantly.
Part 5. The future of PR.
Look, we simply cannot ignore the impact of technology on this space. As AI-generated content completely floods the market, literally anyone can push a button and generate thousands of words of generic text in seconds. In a world drowning in automated fluff, originality is your only moat. Businesses that invest the time into original research, unique insights, and evidence-based storytelling, those will be the ones who establish long-term authority. Verified credibility is fast becoming your ultimate competitive advantage.
Ultimately, it comes down to this. Facts attract attention, but stories backed by data build lasting credibility. A raw fact might make someone pause for a second, sure, but it's the narrative you wrap around that fact, the explanation of why it actually matters to the world, that earns their trust, earns the media coverage, and builds a lasting reputation for your organization.
Which leaves us with this final, really important question to consider. Think about the next time you draft an announcement for your company. Based on everything we've talked about today, will your next release just be more noise sent straight to a journalist trash bin? Or will you take the time to verify the insights, combine them with a compelling narrative, and craft a true story worth sharing? The choice is absolutely yours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.